Google is being sued for tracking you in incognito mode because apparently someone thought they actually had some privacy on the internet. That's cute. Pull yourself up a chair and let's talk about it. If you use Chrome, you probably browse in incognito mode every once in a while. And by probably, I mean you do. You know you break it open every time you visit one of those sites that you just don't want others to know about. Hey, whatever you're into, man, I'm not judging. It's a good tool for that. It doesn't save the histories or cookies, so your wife or girlfriend or parents or whoever doesn't know you visited whatever it was that you visited. But aside from those websites you just don't want in your search history, a lot of us e-commerce types use incognito mode to anonymously check out sites like YouTube and Google or client sites without previous caches or all of our personal data being used to customize that experience. So if you're ever going to Google yourself and actually want to see what others see, you probably want to do it in incognito. Not that I've been Googling myself. There are a lot of folks out there that get a little freaked out by the idea that their data is being collected online. If you want real privacy, unfortunately, those people probably just need to stay off the internet. But instead, some of them use incognito mode because they think they're browsing the internet under the radar and that it's completely untraceable. Those people are sorely mistaken. I mean, it's not how this works. It's not how any of this works. It's almost like sneaking out of the house at night and thinking that just because your parents don't know you're gone, no one you run into can see you. Come to think of it, that actually kind of sounds like fun, and maybe we should try that sometime just to see how people react. Incognito is all about keeping it off your computer, not about being in some stealth mode on the internet, so keep that in mind. Google says that browsing in incognito means that your browser history, cookies, other temporary data like form fields will be deleted as soon as you exit the window. You can still download things, log into sites, whatever you normally do to give away your personal information. When you log in tomorrow, though, none of those websites will show up in your history, so it's like it never happened, right? No, it's not like that at all. All of those sites you visited still have records of that activity. Google and others that track users' info still, technically, know that it's your internet connection and whatever data your browser sends, version, operating system, etc. Although it's uncertain what they do with that info and if they ever attempt to merge that with your non-incognito browsing data. But why would they not? They have enough info to know it's probably you. Make no mistake about it. Some people seem to have the impression that Google isn't supposed to track any of your activity when you're in incognito. After all, that little spy icon makes it feel so secretive. Apparently, those people can't read. Here's the incognito home screen on my computer. Now you can browse privately and other people who use this device won't see your activity. However, downloads and bookmarks will be saved. Then it tells you what data it won't save. But that next column tells a whole different story. It clearly tells you that those in control of your internet connection or others on the web can still see what you do. Who reads the fine print, right? What's the purpose when we could just misunderstand and rage about it later? I mean, who doesn't love a good lawsuit? Even if incognito mode feels more private, the truth is that your data's out there. Google knows where you've been. You really thought all that crap you were doing was private. Your data's just worth too much. But let's not let obvious facts stand in the way of a good lawsuit. Oh no. Law firm Boyes, Schiller, Flexner? Geez, what a name. I mean, it sounds like an industrial adhesive, but they filed a complaint against Google on behalf of people who use incognito browsing. They say that Google tracks and collects consumers' history and other web activity no matter what safeguards consumers undertake to protect their data privacy. Now, this violates federal wiretap laws, or so they say. And if this class action suit goes ahead, the attorneys are asking for $5,000 for every single person who used incognito browsing since June 1st, 2016. Now, just an FYI, but there are 310 million people using Chrome as their primary browser. I bet at least half of them have used incognito to visit an inappropriate site or two. And that means they're suing for roughly $775 billion. In most of these cases, the law firm gets at least 10%, sometimes up to 40% of any settlement. Yeah, I'm sure glad these folks are out there selflessly taking on the important fights and protecting the little guy. Our legal system is crazy, y'all. I understand that this is sometimes needed to get justice or to force companies to do the right thing, but the abuse of it is just crazy. There are law firms out there that exist only to try to find big claims against big companies. It doesn't matter how crazy the charges. The crazier they are, the more news it makes, the more likely someone like Google is to settle and line those lawyers' pockets. Google, of course, disagrees that they did anything wrong or deceptive. Of course, they'll point to the warning that appears every time you open a new incognito window. They'll also probably point out that incognito mode tells you exactly what it doesn't track, and that list isn't very long. It'll be interesting to watch this one play out since GDPR has changed the internet landscape and there's not yet a US equivalent bill. As it turns out, tracking your personal data isn't as cut and dry as you think it is. Your personal data is surprisingly impersonal, and most of the time, your single data point doesn't matter enough on its own to worry about. There's not a business in the world that cares about a single purchase on Amazon enough to go through the trouble to acquire that data. But every business would like to know what people like you are going to buy, and that takes a ton of data points. As far as Google Incognito is concerned, that feature exists to help you hide crap you're doing from others using your computer. That's it. It's to save you from manually going through your browser history and deleting all the pages you visited that you didn't want anybody to know about. It's much easier to just tell Chrome up front that you don't want any of that stuff written down. Google's definitely no stranger to lawsuits about tracking people. In 2019, they settled a $13 million case about collecting data through Google Street View. And that suit was filed in 2010. So $13 million is probably a lot less than they spent on lawyers and expenses defending themselves for 9 years. And there's another lawsuit brewing about Google collecting biometric data on children. And I'm sure that'll gain some steam. And just because the incognito mode thing seems a little crazy doesn't mean these other lawsuits weren't legitimate. According to Wikipedia, Google's legal department employed about 400 attorneys in 2014. Now, that same Wikipedia article lists 5 lawsuits about privacy, 5 about advertising, 6 about their products, 2 about copyrights, and a bunch of miscellaneous other cases. They've paid out a lot of damages over the years. And as more people jump into the data discussion and more lawyers see an opportunity for class action suits, we can expect to see that list of legal troubles grow. A big company that collects a lot of data and is willing to settle to avoid publicity is an easy target for these types of lawsuits. Now, before you trolls start hitting me hard in the comments, I'm not claiming that Google is right for tracking all of your data. No, what I'm saying is that you should know that they are tracking all of your data and that using incognito mode is not doing anything to stop them. If you want true security, there are some browsers that claim they provide that security. That seems to be mostly just marketing, though. In reality, unless you're using a VPN that mixes up your location and anonymizes your identifiable information, then you aren't private. But how much do you trust that VPN company? I mean, they have the potential to track everything you do while using their VPN. Who knows what they're doing with that info? Who knows? But we need to get real about data privacy. And it's not even really a thing in the internet age. We're given a choice between privacy and convenience. People choose convenience just about every time. If you want real privacy, then you pretty much have to go off the grid in a cabin in the woods somewhere. And that's not really an option in the internet age. The internet is just too vital to our daily lives for us to have no real privacy options. But that's a topic for another video. For now, keep using incognito for the things that incognito is good for, if you know what I mean. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do not let my opinion be the only one that's heard. Do me a favor and hit that like button on the video and I'll owe you one. And you know this video quality is worth a subscription, especially if you made it all the way to the end. Go ahead and tap that notification bell while you're at it so you'll know each and every time we put out new content and go live. Here are a couple of other videos if you want to continue to educate yourself on e-commerce topics. I appreciate you watching and I'll see you next time.